Milk thistle is one of my favorite herbs. It has such a long and rich history. It was native actually to the Mediterranean parts of the world originally.
I was once in the country of Jordan and I was walking through fields, and on the side of these agricultural fields was this plant which is growing about chest high and extended the entire length of the field, hundreds and hundreds of meters. And that was milk thistle. And that's interesting for two reasons. One, because milk thistle is extremely prolific. Two, because many people postulate that milk thistle probably started in that part of the world.
Originally, it was distributed in southern Europe and North Africa, but it has now spread almost around the world.
This plant takes its name, milk thistle, because when you look at the leaves, there's these large bands or splashes of white. And early Christians thought that this was a sign that the milk thistle plant, not just the fruit or seeds, but the plant, could be used to increase milk production.
So milk thistle has been in use for thousands of years, and I actually brought a prop along, which is the sole growing milk thistle in my neighborhood, and you can see it has very thorny leaves, and bracts are also very stingy, and that led people to believe that milk thistle may help with stinging pain.
Milk thistle, the whole plant is edible. Like most thistles, you could eat the entire plant, and for much of its history, not only was it used as a medicine, but it was very popular as a food, which is why it also has another nickname called wild artichoke. So this is a plant that was used as food, and it was used as medicine, used by women to promote breast milk production, used for digestion, used for what sounds like early liver problems way back, at least 1,000 years ago.
So I imagine millions and millions of people have tried it over the years. It's been around for 6,000 years, or probably longer. So if milk thistle was going to make your left arm fall off, we already know that, right? So it's, the safety profile is probably pretty good.
So the parts of the milk thistle plant that are used therapeutically or medicinally is the seed.
And the seeds are very rich in oil. So in order to make a milk thistle extract, the seeds are first cold pressed to remove the oil, and then the remainder of the seed is used to create the medicinally interesting extract, which is the silymarine medicine.
So these compounds that are present in milk thistle, known as flavonolignans, there's a variety of them.
And as science has evolved, researchers notice it's actually a mixture of a number of constituents. So it's still called silymarine, but there are a number of different compounds that make up the silymarine, and these are the known therapeutic actives. One of the interesting aspects of milk thistle for me as a scientist is actually it is one of the plants where we know which constituents are responsible for the activity.
I would say there's probably two things that have excited us. One is that we were able to eventually verify the structure of those compounds without any doubt. And that was with a technique called X-ray crystallography. No one had done that. In studying the compounds for 50 or 60 years, no one had ever gotten effectively the photograph of the molecule, the photograph that says the structure is this for sure. So we did that.
I believe there is no real equivalent in conventional medicine or pharmaceuticals today.
From a research perspective, from the way I look at it as a chemist, the chemistry has been studied since about the early 1960s. And effectively what people have been doing is trying to figure out what in the extract, which is the extract of the seeds of milk thistle, could potentially be responsible for the biological activity that people see when they take milk thistle.
This is a plant with, like many plants, with multimodal activity, meaning that it's working through a variety of pathways to achieve the activity that we see both in clinical trials and as a clinician just in everyday practice. A pill bottle that you'll purchase usually says 80% silymarin, and that really is because it represents all of these flavonolignan components, which we believe account for a lot of the biological activity, especially when it comes to helping with supporting blood sugar regulation as well as being protective for the liver.
There are a number of uses of milk thistle that have been documented by clinical trials. One of them is for fatty liver disease, where there are clinical data that support its use. There's also therapy of death cap poisonings, where milk thistle is used as an injection.
Many people will take milk thistle because they've done something bad to their liver. So they've poisoned their liver because they've got hepatitis, they've poisoned their liver because they ate a poisonous mushroom, or they've drank way too much.
The fact that you have a compound found in nature that when given intravenously can save the lives of individuals who have inadvertently consumed this mushroom is staggering, and it really speaks to the fact that this plant has the ability to really prevent harm from chemical or toxin-induced damage.
And it seems to work. I mean, whether you look anecdotally or you look at some of the case report literature, it seems to work.
So as a clinician, I actually lean in pretty heavy on milk thistle for a variety of things. One is anytime I think somebody needs liver support because they may be being exposed to chemicals or compounds that are harmful to the liver. It's amazing. We live in an environment where there is a lot of things that our liver is exposed to. This is one of the major detoxification organs of the body. It is responsible for packaging up and eliminating things that we don't need. So it takes a lot of the brunt of living in a relatively chemically dense planet today, especially when you layer in things just like pollutants, particulate matters, and then things like drugs that many people take, or even alcohol. And this really, I think, speaks to the power of milk thistle as an agent today, as a botanical that has so much potential to really help us live in this world. So we have a lot of data on this plant. It's quite safe, it's quite amazing, and its gifts to modern humankind, I think, are enormous.